Cloud. Good evening. It is Tuesday evening, November 18th, 2025. Gee, I think that's probably a week from Thursday's Thanksgiving. Thank you for coming out. God Lynn, God Ed, God Jerry, God Glenda, for coming out with your presence. It surely helps me so much. It really does. Have your live presence here. Tonight's teaching is 2 or 3 items, but the first one I wrote was set the mind free. And I have to tell you, in all my years of practicing, I've never said that before. It never dawned on me to set the mind free. I think I even called Lynn and was talking about this. And second, I've misunderstood what Tibetan Dzogchen teaches. I really kind of thought it was a transformation teaching, or could be like a mind improvement or self-improvement teaching. But there's no self-improvement because there's no self, and it can't be helped anyway. Because, right? I mean, that's the Course in Miracles and the crux of Dzogchen, of letting go of the self we think we are, letting go of the person we think we are. But I never, ever really got to the point to say, neither one of these to me now are self-improvement courses. And I think I got a little confused because Jesus calls the course a course in mind training. But now I'm kind of getting another look at what I believe that to mean. And here comes in Leon and Debbie's joining in, so I'll pause here a minute and maybe rehash that just a bit. Welcome, God Leon. Welcome, God Debbie. I'm going to back up just a second. We just started. Tonight's teachings is three topics. First one is set your mind free, and I don't believe I've ever said that to this group. And second, I realized I've misunderstood what Dzogchen means. I thought it was really kind of a mind improvement. And I even thought A Course in Miracles was a mind improvement because Jesus says it's a mind training course. Well, I have a new perspective on, for me, that this is not a self-improvement. There isn't a self, and it can't be helped anyway. Because the crux of Buddhism is anatta, no self. And then Jesus is teaching that there's no self. But yet I got caught up in thinking I could train the mind to be better. It's not that. It's no longer do I think that. I'm not training the mind. Here comes Anya to do anything. I'm not training the mind. I'm letting the mind go. I'm furling it like a kite, cut the string of a kite and let it go. And in the Buddhist teachings, there's a teaching that says something like, the pigeons are set free from a ship that's out in the middle of the sea. And the lesson in that is, where do the pigeons have come? Where else do they have to come back to but that ship? And that's a metaphor to the mind. When we let the mind go, then all the thoughts and feelings and perceptions and all that is set free. So where else can those thoughts, feelings, and sensations go? Well, they go back to where they were created, which is the groundless ground, the pure land. They don't really, the clear light. That's where they go because they're created from that. So picture the great ray connects with this open spaciousness of clear light. And with that clear light, the sonship's awareness only could know love. It couldn't feel love. So that's why it created two-ness, or created the mind, dualistic mind, that knew of non-dualism when it was awake, but it created the dualistic mind to create form. So then awareness could experience all these senses to feel what love feels like in a form, and it feels full. Think about those adjectives. It feels fullness. It feels whole. It's whole. Feels whole. WHOLE. It feels complete. Nothing's lacking. That's what pure unconditional love feels like in the non-dual state. But anyway, this is not a mind improvement course for you, and you're really setting up a non-improvement pact with yourself. Non-improvement, accepting yourself the way you are, just as you are, warts and all, limp and all. Like I got a knee that had an ACL tear, my injured knee and all. Letting thoughts, feelings, sensations, and perceptions arise and self-liberate. It's called, now I don't know, I can't get all this straight as pronounce things right, but it's called Rang Shawl. I wrote it down here. Shore drawl. What it means is by itself arising, by itself liberating. If we don't attach to these thoughts, feelings, and etc., or push them away, they will self-liberate all on their own. Because this mind that was created by the sonship for the sole purpose of creating images. So images are images in the mind, but also these images get projected and solidified into forms. But they're all vibrations of clear light, various vibrations and light colors. They're all clear light. Darkness is even compressed clear light. There's nothing but light, nothing but God everywhere. It's our judgments of these thoughts, feelings, and sensations that causes us to not be aware of love's presence, of our own clear light nature. Temporary thoughts, feelings, and perceptions veil our natural clear light nature. So, but if you let these thoughts, feelings, sensations go, what happens? You become aware. There's gaps and spaces between thoughts and feelings. You become aware of that clear light space, that openness that is your nature of your Christ Buddha mind. But anyway, I misunderstood the Dzogchen. And here's a quote about what its practice is. The practice of Dzogchen is a liberating, natural, non-practice of spontaneous occurrence and spontaneous release. Now, that's the crux of it all. Spontaneous, natural, spontaneous occurrence, itself arise, thoughts, feelings, perceptions, self-arise, and spontaneously release, or called liberate. So this I would like for you to sit with, like who or what is aware, who or what is, where are these thoughts, feelings, and perceptions coming from? Is it you? It, but for me, it's not. But here, let me give you an example. I was sent my email Thursday the 13th. I was watching college, no, Thursday. I was watching, what was I watching? Football, must have been a pro football game. Although sometimes now there's college football games. And I was playing solitaire on the TV. And while that was going on, I'm doing this practice that I talked about last week where I suspend my attention within the nature of non dual awareness. I suspend my attention within the nature of non dual awareness. Well, what the hell's the nature of non dual awareness? It's the clear light. It's the clear light openness where the great ray meets. There's this groundless ground, Buddhism calls it. That's where creation started and where the great ray was created. A circle was within create for me, for in my mind, created in that vast openness, a circle. And it was like that I said about the kitchen sink, the drain. You got the vast clear light and you put a drain or a tube down, a ray down in it, the clear light's going to go down in that tube like a centrifugal force. But it moves down in that. It has a downward movement and an automatic upward movement. This downward and upward movement the downward movement presses on the lungs to create the expansion of the lungs, and then the upward movement contracts the lungs. And then it's just a repeat performance. The energy from the great ray is causing the breath to come in and go out to enliven this form and oxygenate this form, etc. But they're not separate. The great ray tube is not separate from the vast openness. It's continuous. Yet, so that means this is significant. The movement of that great ray up and down light, it causes the form to move. So in Buddhism, they talk about form and emptiness are inseparable, or movement and non-movement are inseparable. That's why they're inseparable. And in reality, non-duality and duality are inseparable because both of them are clear light. But anyway, I digress. So I was sitting in my chair. I was suspending my attention in that clear light. I was aware of the clear light. And I'd be watching the game. And I became I became aware I felt sad. And real quick, I looked in my mind and realized a thought was said in the mind about something on TV was bad. And instantly there was a feeling of sadness showed up. Now picture something. Neither one of those is my awareness, is me. I wasn't doing squat. The big A awareness or the Christ nature or Buddha nature, I wasn't doing this. This was the mind. The mind is forever creating things. And because the mind was created to create dualism, during the creation of dualism, awareness needed to evaluate the forms. And so it sorted things good and bad. That's just how it was and is. So then even if it's worse then when the mind's asleep, it's still sorting good and bad, but it's forgotten all about its capital A awareness or big Christ Buddha awareness. It's down thinking it's a body, a self, sorting good and bad and going off on those thoughts to have feelings in a loop. So that's that discursive thinking. You have a thought, then you glue another thought with it, another thought, then you get a feeling and a feeling. Before you know it, you got a loop going. And if you're not aware of those thoughts and feelings, you think they're yours. And then you think you're sad. and you think you're saying all this. In essence, you've agreed, your attention's agreed with it. When we're asleep to this, we've agreed with it, and we're off on that gerbil wheel of running that tape, running that loop, that circle, right? But it wasn't me. And I sat there and I went, what? What? That is the very honest, the very first time I actually caught it. Because see, my awareness is getting unveiled by me practicing being mindful or aware of what I'm doing while I'm doing it, and aware of these thoughts, aware of the thoughts when they rise up, and then letting them liberate. Because I'm practicing this, I'm becoming aware of thoughts, feelings, where before it's called sleepwalking. Now, I've talked to y'all about this before, but I haven't really. This was very where I was in the middle of it. I was experiencing at a subtle level this habitual knee-jerk looping of discursive thinking that goes on, that we glue things together, make from past stories into future stories, etc. So when I recognized that it wasn't me, I was aware, guess what? The sadness evaporated, disappeared just like that. So then I went looking in this podcast that I've been listening to maybe 10 or more times. And I've been trying to transcribe it for almost over a week. And I've got about 3/4 of it done, and I emailed it out to you. It's EP 69. It's a podcast Lama Surya Das did. Why it got my attention. It's called Clear Light and the View. Well, clear light's the nature of our mind, our nature, our innate nature, our holy Christ Buddha nature. Clear light, clearness. Well, and the clear light, it's clear. Our nature's pure love showing up as clear light. And you start to feel the wholeness of that love as we let go of these thoughts. We just let go of thoughts, but keep letting go of these thoughts and judgments, etc. But it's called Clear Light and the View. And within this, I made notes here. I want to find this page 11. That I had read this, page 11. Page 11. No, I don't know. Is it page 11? I was looking at something else. Wait, hold on. Victimized. Maybe it's, yeah, I've got two things going on here. The actual printout from that EP 69 and my teaching, where I list all my experiences. Let's see if I put the quote in there. No? Well, I could talk about it, but I would prefer that'll come up. But what it's talking about is, remember what I said? I noticed that I felt sad. Then I went to my mind and saw that the thought was something has been labeled bad. So look what had happened. A mental thought that was in this mind, a mental thought. I was being victimized by my own mental thought. That's the crux of this. This is the crux of our suffering. We are being victimized by our own mental thoughts. We don't know they're happening just randomly, they're just going on. But I step up there and hook my attention to it or awareness and go off with it and get caught up in it and get in the loop, right? Then I'm being victimized from the original, that's it, from the original dualistic thought of good and bad. Remember it said something was bad? That's dual. I was being victimized by the dualism of something that was good and bad. I went, what? I'm causing my own suffering. And of course, Miracle says that you are causing your own suffering. And I've never got it to the core of me like I got it last Thursday night. I'm still sitting with it based on having thoughts and feelings and recognizing when I'm just about to go jump on something, I go, oh, that's a self-arising thought. I don't have to hook on to that. I don't have to think some more thoughts and go with that. Then that's called self-liberating. I let it go, take my attention. Nope, I'm not doing that. Let that go, and it self-liberates. Now, I was talking to Terry Wagers about this, and she had mentioned that one of her friends or something had gotten involved with somebody had died, and they had been talking to her about it. It took them 5 days when they were caught. Their mind was just carrying on. Oh, they were just staying on these thoughts, and they couldn't let these thoughts go. And I said to her, well, tell this person, think about how it was years ago. They could stay with those whatever thoughts they were having for maybe a month, 6 months, carry that same memory or story a year or more, right? So tell them, way to go. You realized what you were doing and got free 5 days later, right? So, but then I listened to this EP 69, and what Lama Sri Das gives in this are tips and tricks. How to let go when you're in the midst of discursive thinking, in a loop, in the gerbil wheel. One of the first ones was, and this came from the fifth Dalai Lama. So picture, I think the current Dalai Lama is the 14th. So they've kept track of this. Excuse me. The fifth Dalai Lama said to take your gaze and go upward. Take your eyes and go upward. Just do an upward gaze, an upward gaze. Now, in this EP 69 transcript, these items I'm going to talk about are randomly throughout it. And then I also added some that I do. But upward gaze, and then that fifth Dalai Lama, he would flick his eyes back and forth, right and left. And that, I don't know how many times, each person's different. They could get out of that discursive thinking. And next is look into who or what is experiencing. Ask yourself when you're in the midst of this upheaval and this turmoil, who or what is experiencing this? See, let's see, Liz is calling. Let's see if I can help her. Yes, Liz. Yes. Check my email. It's right in the top of my email, or it's in my signature block on any email. You can't, well, I sent this out Monday, so check Monday. Wait, you want to look in your emails. In your emails. I send an email out. And okay, cool. Thank you. Um, excuse me. So next, these are tips and tricks to get out of when the mind is just turning and you just re-looping like a jackhammer hammering on something, just won't let you go, just keeps on. Seeing images as Halloween costumes. Humming, om, ah, hum, H-U-M or H-U-N-G. That's the seed syllable for the heart, pure love. So you could just go say to yourself. Breathing in and out of the image. And now, boy, this works. Let me tell you, this works. If you got image in your mind or an event, breathe in and out of the image. And what that does, that gets you in the rhythm of not just the in and out breath, but your great ray light, it's coming and going in that same rhythm. So it'll get you aligned vertically. Breathing in and out of an image. And another, then, besides breathing in and out of an image, you can breathe in and out of your closed eyelids. And that'll do the same thing. It gets you vertically aligned in the central channel and the great ray and the breath, and it soothing and get you aligned. And may let these thoughts dissolve, unless it may give you clarity and some peace, but in that there may be something in this thing that's turning like that needs to be dealt with. But then what you're doing, you're consciously considering it. You're just not reacting before you do some action, right? So it makes you're not having a reaction. You're consciously choosing what to do about something. But then the out breath, remember I talked to you about taking 3 in breaths and out breaths and doing a long ah. But the out breath itself, because I sat in my chair because I was a little nervous and asked the Holy Spirit, help me organize my thoughts so I can present this well tonight. And I just would breathe out and go like, ah. And that's releasing. That's letting go. So just the plain out breath is really a super cleanser, it's called. I'm not kidding. We're down to how to get free from this mind. I want to read about the mind. And now that came up, so I'm going to do it. Remember, this is a non-improvement pact with yourself. In all these, I was a student of Lama Surya Das for maybe 3 years and went to Zoom retreats. That was during COVID and all that stuff. And then I've listened to podcasts after, and not once, I'm not kidding you, in all those times, have I ever heard him say something like, how strong can I put this? When he's trying to convince these people from this retreat to do a particular thing, I'm going to read this is very important. I'd never heard him say anything like this. I'm going to read this right here. Everything arising is the fuel for the bonfire of this awareness. See, capital A awareness is curative. I became aware there was a feeling of sadness, and I was aware that those thoughts weren't mine that were being said. Now, you don't have to be aware they're not yours, but you can become aware of the thoughts as they arise, or that you're thinking that they're going around in your mind, that they become the fuel for the bonfire of awareness. If you let them go, they're going to burn up. They're going to self-liberate. By itself arising and by itself liberating. It's all natural. And it goes non-improvement pact with yourself. If you're familiar with the Tao Te Ching, which this is Lama Surya Das from this EP 69 podcast. I recommend the Stephen Mitchell translation is among the best. The Tao, the flow, the Tao, the main concept in the Tao is Wu Wei. Unstriving is the same concept, not pushing the river. It does not mean doing nothing. Beyond action and inaction, the sublime Dharma is accomplished. Wu Wei, naturalness, see, we're talking here naturalness, naturally letting these thoughts come and go. Non-striving, sometimes it says non-action. Wu Wei, free from actions, free from effort, free from pushing and pulling on the river. See, that's what I'm talking about here. We're just letting where these thoughts arise and let them self-liberate. The view of nothing more to do and getting used to it. See, this is totally the opposite of living how we're taught. Be on those thoughts, sort those thoughts, good and bad. Now, we're not talking about when you're doing your budget, you're deciding, oh, I need to spend this much money this month. But what's different is you don't end up labeling stuff good and bad. You're just stating facts. Here's the budget. Here's what I need to do. It's just facts. You've stepped off that gerbil wheel of labeling stuff good and bad, which causes these emotions. But the emotions are also natural. Later, I'm going to read here where it says happiness and sadness are the natural oscillations of emotion. They're natural. They're natural. You just you feel your feelings. I'm going to read about that too. But right now I'm talking about the mind. Getting used to just leaving things as they are is a non-improvement pact with yourself, or to put it more positively, don't bother your mind and it won't bother you. Don't bother your mind. This is not a mind improvement education here. Don't bother your thoughts. How can I put this? How strong can I put this? Take off your head and swish into the garbage pail in the corner. Not that we're advocating lobotomization. That is contraindicated as well. But the middle way includes thinking and analysis, but it's a good servant, but a poor master. We are too much under its power most of the time. So here we do not need to think or analyze and deconstruct the ego and think about all about the different mental states to name and label everything that comes up. Oh, angry thought, desirous thought, or boredom. That's a different meditation called mental noting. That's very mental. It takes words and names and forms. That is not the Dzogchen way. Dzogchen just means the direct access path to enlightenment. This is the direct path. It's saying, let these thoughts, feelings, sensations self-rise and self-liberate. Guess what? You got left is your natural clear light essence. It's that simple. Our way is breathing out and letting it all go. And if you have concepts and names and forms coming up, use the upward light glance or right-left eye flicking that the fifth Dalai Lama taught, who was one of the great Dzogchen masters, to break up your mental formations and come back to at ease in the hammock of awareness. See, what we're going for is cultivating capital A awareness of this clear light, openness. With capital A, not meditation, as one more activity you have to do like yoga and learn and get good at. This is like playing basketball with a hoop bigger than the whole court. You can't miss. Just being Wu Wei. Naturalness is the way, like the Zen master says. That's a hell of a lot, actually, authenticity. Not trying to put Buddha's head on your head. This would be monstrous, not just inauthentic through imitation. So the great haiku poet of Japan said, I do not seek to imitate or step in the footprints of the masters of old. I seek what they sought. Okay, that's that. That is about the mind. What'd he say? Here, let's repeat about that. Take your head off and swish it into the trash can in the corner.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, here comes D. Let's see. I'm trying to admit D. D. That is not showing up. I'm gonna have to text D to tell her she's not showing up for me to click on anything. Just kind of contemplate what we're you may want to leave and come back in because I can't click on anything to let you in. Okay. All right. Now, the mind's, what did it say? Okay, servant, but a poor master. We've been allowing the mind. I've been listening to the mind. I listen to those thoughts and doing them, knee jerk, doing them. Okay, now wait. You got to see what. Oh, so we're back to the tips and tricks. Say a prayer or mantra. You will decide which of these things are no problem. Come on in. Um, there we go. Um, you choose which of these tips and tricks work for you. You try them out, but you may have a favorite prayer or daily lesson from A Course in Miracles or a mantra or a chant. And Lama Surya Das quoted one of the so-called, not so-called masters of Dzogchen that it's in that transcript, he told his students when he felt, he didn't use the word overwhelmed, out of sorts, he chants, it's called the 100-syllable Vajrasattva mantra. It's 100 syllables. It's the names of all these enlightened beings and things. He chants that. Now, see, that's not Dzogchen. That's not, when he can't let go of something, he's chanting a mantra. And so Lama Surya Das says, hey, if the greatest teacher of Dzogchen ever resorts to a chant and prayer, I think we can do that or do these little tips and tricks, Come back to naturalness, just being. This is also called radical acceptance. Now, of course, we're not doormats, physical or mental doormats, never put ourselves in harm's way. But in general, this is called radical acceptance, letting things come and go and be just as they are. Welcome, God D. Welcome, God Liz. You made it. Welcome. Then I wrote this. Here's another one. Go out into nature. Lynn and I were, Lynn a few weeks back was talking about this when I brought it up. When you feel overwhelmed, out of sorts, you can't get this mind's just a churning. Oh, and that means churning, instead of turning, there was some master in Chile called it chitzing, and that may help you. Chitzing. Chits. It's just like you got a head full of cicadas, right? It's chitzing. So use that word. Your mind's just chitzing. So that tells you you're caught in a loop. So you're becoming aware. Before we just would have stayed in that loop and just be suffering. You're chitsing and you go, oh, which one of my toolkit I'm going to use? Which tool in my toolkit am I going to use? Go out into nature and just looking at the open sky. And it just see this awareness and your Christ Buddha mind, it's open, spacious, has no border, no end, open like the sky, right? That's why going out and looking at the sky frees you up, frees that mind up. And like it's like just a breath of like, oh, you just feel, oh, you just, and when you feel that, oh, guess what's happened? The edges of your body, the edges of your mind and your heart have let go. They've released and you're relaxed. And when you feel that, ah, and you feel that spaciousness, guess what? You're in union with your naturalness, your openness, your spaciousness, this open, clear light nature. You've just rejoined with it. You were never separate. Just these thoughts that were turning around kept you from being relaxed, where you let go that out breath, just let go. And just feel that, folks. These tips, just let go and you'll feel the edges of your body let go. You're into your natural state, this natural open state. And that natural open state is also called unconditional love. Unconditional love accepts everything the way it is. That's God accepting all humanity, all the six realms, just as we are. God's not telling us we have to change. He's not doing that. We're doing this to ourselves. That's why it's not a mind and a self-improvement course. There is no self, and the self can't be helped. What this is to me, an unveiling course. You're unveiling your true nature. You're unveiling your naturalness, your openness, your loving essence. Now, here's one I added is take an inventory of your six senses and call out to each one and breathe in and out of each one. I'm not kidding. There's the mind is the sixth sense, then the eyes, the ears. Call out to your mind, and just breathe in and out of your mind. Call out to your eyes, breathe in and out of your eyes. It's opening them. Your ears, call out to your ears, breathe in and out of your ears, breathe in and out of your nose, in and out of your mouth. And that opens your throat. Breathe in and out of your heart. Breathe in and out of your body. What that does is it opens you to your natural state. All these six senses get opened. And when they're open, it's more natural that these thoughts, feelings, and sensations, they're open. They're not, thoughts aren't clogging in there because you've opened them, and thoughts arise and thoughts self-liberate. So it doesn't matter how many times a day you go and call out to your mind and breathe in and out of it, breathe in and out of your heart. You're opening it. You're opening it. You feel you're back to your natural state that's always been here, but veiled by all these thoughts and feelings. Now, I want to, okay, I think I kind of read those. Those were the toolkit. So, okay, I want to read about emotions. I made these notes. And you see my pages here. Got that. Oh, here's the victimized sheet. Page 11, victimized sheet. Let's read the victim. Let's read this statement that I was trying to say. When I caught the sadness, aware of the sadness and aware of the thought my mind was calling something bad, then the feeling of sadness occurred. That's the first moment of dualism. The first moment of dualism of being victimized by that arising, that feeling. Well, wait, the first moment of dualism is labeling something good or bad. And once that's done, if you're not aware, real quick, the knee-jerk unconscious stuff, you go to add some more thoughts of bad, how bad it is. And then a feeling of sadness or whatever comes, then you got some more reason why it's bad. So just be aware when we're sorting good and bad, that's the first moment of dualism. And what's going to happen right then, we're going to be victimized by our own thoughts. These thoughts are not our thoughts, but the thoughts that are in the mind that we put our attention on that are arising. We're going to be victimized by them. We're going to suffer from them. Oh, man. And I tell you, that really got me to think I've been victimizing myself. But we just keep practicing and it'll dawn on us. Just awareness is curative. Now, I want to go to awareness is curative. And also, what we're cultivating is called panoramic awareness. That's the awareness that is called also naked, muted awareness, means it's natural, it's open, spacious, not cluttered by it. It's never cluttered by anything. It's unchanging, unmoving. That's your innate naturalness. This panoramic awareness, where you're ending up, instead of focusing so much on individual objects, your vision is kind of changing to look at the big world view, the big universe view, that these are all forms, the planets, the stars. Then if you go look at planet Earth, the animals, the beings on it, the insects, where did all that come from? It came from this groundless ground, this clear light, this powerful clear light essence wanted to experience what love felt like. So it created form. So it took the clear light, put it in a great ray tube, and made an up and down vibrating energy. That's why it's called breath and energy rejoined. Your breath and energy is animating all these forms. And all these forms and the universe, all the planets, we are all breathing in and out together in unison. It could be unconscious, but you're awakening to that. When you breathe, when you go and do that breathing in those six senses and your heart and all, you'll feel it. This expansion and contraction, you'll feel that you could be even feel like you're one with your living room, your wherever you're at, your city. The mind, the Christ Buddha mind, you'll see your country maybe in the earth, but the whole everything is breathing breath and energy in unison, because that's how it is. The great rays coming in and going out, in and out, because of the expansion of this breath. So that's one with everything. You're one with everything. It's all interconnected, all interbeing via this clear light energy, this breath that's together. Anyway, you're becoming aware of the arisings, it's called. You're aware of the arisings of thought, feelings. Now I want to read about emotion, because I kind of misunderstood that too. I didn't really, we weren't ever taught about how to handle our emotions. But now, come on now, I can find this about emotions. I got all these sheets, right? Here it is. Here it is. Well, first, this is one thing I want to do. I want to do that. And I want to do, awareness helps us hold the space or perspective where there's space between stimulus and response. So you get all kinds of advantages by being aware of what you're doing while you're doing it, aware of when you're walking, aware when you're eating, aware of what you're seeing, aware of what you're feeling. What happens is you get a space between stimulus, the stimuli, like you see some sights or hear something that instantly wants to bring up a past memory, but you got a little space between the stimulus and how you're going to respond or react, because that's when you make a conscious choice. So this awareness is so curative. Okay, now I'd like to find about if I can remember here, there's just so much in it. And next week I may just read this whole thing. 7:55. Wow. Okay. I want to, it's about that happiness and sadness are natural oscillations. They're natural. I used to push, when I recognized that I felt sad, I wasn't pushing that sadness away. I was aware of sadness and I was aware of the thought that preceded sadness, and then they evaporated. But sometimes there's feelings of sadness or happiness, and it's normal, it's natural. What's not what we want to be aware of is depression is the odd man out. That's when we're on the gerbil wheel going over and over whatever something is to get the mind in a state of depression. That's not natural. It's natural to have happiness and sadness. I must have pulled the sheet out because I was going to read about that. Let's see if I can. Well, that's okay. Okay, now I've got my notes. So what else? Oh, karma. Oh, this got me too. So what's driving the world? What's driving all these things we see? Well, I hadn't really thought about it, but it's karma. What we sow, we reap. It's karma, cause and effect. So picture now with this awareness that you're cultivating and unveiling, you're not going to have this knee-jerk reactions. They're called reactions. Oh, Lama Sri Das says there's Tibetan words. Karma means activity, and he says it's reactivity. And I get that. It's our reactivity to a stimulus, right? This knee-jerk response. And then we can have an action that goes out. You know what I'm talking about. We probably have them less and less because we're practicing A Course in Miracles in Tibetan Buddhism. But karma is driving the world. So how do you become one with your karma? How you become one with your karma is you allow these thoughts and feelings to come and go without judging them and without reacting to them. Without reacting, you can still feel them. You can still feel these feelings, right? But we want to be observant, aware when we start labeling, naming them out and judging them. Then you're in the thinking mind, you're in that stinking thinking mind. Now, granted, the mind's useful for survival techniques, etc., help us balance our checkbook, etc., these basic things. But reactivity is karma. So there's so many advantages to this breath work, becoming aware when you're caught in this cycle of looping of thoughts, hammering on something, like a jackhammer. You just can't get off of it. You're just on it. This labeling and judging, to let go, to let go. Now, with our Course in Miracles practice, I highly recommend you think of the people and events and yourself as look beyond the body to the clear light of spirit that's here. You are spirit. I'm spirit. You're spirit. Whole, pure, and innocent. Always forgiven and released. And if I'd known better, I would have done better. If you'd known better, you would have done better. Please forgive me. I forgive you. I love you. You are God. And then in Dzogchen, it's called Treched. You're seeing through these thoughts, images, events, people. But see, you see through thoughts to that clear light. The thoughts are originated out of that clear light too. You're seeing through the thoughts to the clear light. You're seeing through these images on the screen to think of them as the clear light of spirit. Seeing through, being through, being through. That is letting go. That's letting go of these, what we used to think are solidifying names and forms, right? It's just miraculous awareness. Awareness is just curative. Well, I apologize. I've kind of jumbled this. Now let's see. I want to end with this. This is about feeling. This is about feeling. He's talking about let Buddha do it through you. See that? You could say Christ. Let Jesus do it through you. Letting go. I'm just going to use the word Buddha, but it can be Christ or Jesus. Good night, Debbie. Thank you, honey. Good night. Letting go and let Buddha breathe through you, or even better, let breathing occur. Let go and let Buddha think through you, or even better, allow thinking to proceed unhindered in bigger context of awareness. Let go and let Buddha feel through you, or even better, just feeling. Just feeling can be healing. Not thinking about it, just feeling. Now, where we go astray is to start thinking about it and judging the feelings. Okay. Just feeling, not straying into the arid desert of thinking about it, labeling it with name and form. Just hearing, nothing to hear and no one hearing it. Just feeling, no names or labels or evaluations, just feeling and no one feeling it. This moment, riding the crest of nowness only moment, just feeling the physical sensation before we name it pain or pleasure and start to judge it downstream. Whoa. And see what this judging, labeling it downstream is good and bad, liking and disliking. I want it, I don't want it. All behavior that drives habitual conditioned behavior based on the first moment of dualism of being victimized by that arising, that feeling, that sensation, in a word, reactivity. Karma means reactivity. Karma means conditioning and is usually translated as cause and effect, but really means reactivity, reaction. In Tibetan, it is lay, translated as action. I would say it means reaction. Let's see if there's more to this then. Because everything is karma in our world and conditioned situation. Nothing else is driving it. There's no one else is pulling the strings upstairs. You check it out and see for yourself. Everything is interconnected, impermanent, nothing separate, changing, interdependent. Everything's interconnected. Only this karmic causation, conditioning, reactivity. Awareness helps us hold the space or perspective where there is a space between stimulus and response. so we can choose how, when, and if to respond, not just blindly react according to our habitual reactivity, our habitual conditioning. This is a secret of mindful anger management, dealing with our inner difficulties or outer difficult people or situation or the unwanted diagnosis or the world crisis. Because it is not what happens to us, but what we make of it that makes all the difference. That's the secret of self-mastery, of autonomy within interdependence. Self-mastery versus victim of conditions and circumstances, including the inner weather of emotionality, reactivity, and so forth. Don't you, I really like those words. The inner weather. Isn't that a cool way to say the inner weather? The weather of emotionality, reactivity, and so forth. Wow. So I may read that whole thing next week, and I apologize when you look at it. I duplicated part, and I'm not finished with 3 questions that were at the end, which are highly helpful because people are asking questions, and they're getting responses that help them. I'll finish that and email that out and probably read it, and we'll continue to talk about that next week. Because see, this EP 69 called The Clear Light in the View, to me, is look how what it's done. It's describing how the mind works. It describes your natural state. It describes the nature of mind. It describes tips and tricks on how to live this life. It's just kind of defines Dzogchen and awareness. It really gives a big overview. I've studied it now for a couple of months, and I think that's one reason why things have kind of slowed down to where I'm aware of more thoughts than I've been aware of the feelings, right? Because that's the power, that's the self mastery, the self, not a ego self, the mastery of living this human life. Now, any questions or thoughts before I stop the recording tonight? Then, okay, then we practice our advanced forgiveness. And there's God Lynn, God Ed, God Angela, God Jerry, God Liz, God Leon, God Dee, God Debbie was here. And those that see this later, Terry, God Carrie, there's God Joan, God Joanne, Angela's here, Corrine, God Corrine, Dee's here, God Julia Bradley DeBose, God Julia Parker Gillette, Simone Foley, Jerry's here, Gabby, Susan A, Casey Jones, Liz is here, Lorraine, Steve, Leon's here, Gonzalo, Barb, Lynn's here, Danelle Alvaro, all those that listen later. And then we give well wishes and blessings to all the 6 realms, the small g gods, demigods, humans, animals, hungry ghosts, and denizens in hell. May all inner, outer, and secret obscurations be removed so we become aware of our inseparability with our true nature and source and our brothers. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording. And those that want to stay in chat, we stay in chat. Now I got the new screen, so I'm going to be careful that I don't close out the meeting.